Welcome to Franklin Tomorrow City Hall on Wheels, Frank Talks. I'm Mindy Tate, Executive Director of Franklin Tomorrow, and we are so pleased you're here this morning. Great crowd. We really appreciate y'all coming out and being here at Columbia State with us. There's so many moving parts in an event like this. Like, we just did live video and then the live video ended, and so we were trying to fix that, so sorry. So now I have to remember to use this. So we could not do Frank Talks without the support of Williamson Medical Center and Renaissance Bank and our other partners who sustain us, including Williamson Medical Center. We have a number of partners, and as we're coming to the end of the year and you begin thinking about those year-end donations, I do want to remind you that all donations to Franklin Tomorrow are tax deductible, so we appreciate your support for that. But I want to bring up Lee, or is it Lindsay or Lee that's coming up? Both of you, how about that? They're going to tag team it from Williamson Medical Center and Bone and Joint of Tennessee.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Lindsay Sullivan from Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee, and this is Lee Williams, the Director of Development for the Williamson Medical Center Foundation. And we are so happy to be here this morning and to see many smiling faces. But we also have an ask this morning. As we all know, global supply chain is causing little kinks here and there along the way, and our current issue is crutches are on a nationwide shortage. If anyone has seen it, it's been on our social media accounts for Bone and Joint Institute, but we are at a critical supply level for crutches. So we, which is a random thing to ask for, but in orthopedics and at the hospital at Williamson Medical Center for surgery, crutches are a necessary item. So Lee's going to talk a little bit about some different, an initiative that we have starting today, but we are asking for donated crutches. We will refurbish them, and which is, crutch it forward, here you go. Thank you. I remember to use that. So everyone should have received a handout when they came in this morning with a QR code for some information, but just a note that will be on this, any crutches that are donated that are given to a patient, we will not charge the patient for that item. I know that's been a question that has popped up along the way. So we are just asking for the community to help out the community. And Lee can go into a little bit more detail with the initiative.
Thank you for having me here today. All these smiling faces, it's so wonderful on a Monday morning. So today, this afternoon, there will be a press release that goes out to launch the Crutch It Forward initiative. It's a campaign to collect donated crutches. We will accept canes and we will accept walkers. And those are going to be accepted at several locations across the county. All of your Williamson County Parks and Recreation locations will have a bin for collections, and they know what's happening, so you can walk in and it'll be easily accessible. We're also going to be in Nolensville. We'll have a collection site not only at Parks and Recreation, but also at the Town Hall. And here in Franklin, it'll be Parks and Recreation, of course, with the Enrichment Center, and then Darrell Waltrip Subaru. They are excellent partner for us and the community. So I need to say thank you because I've never been in front of this group before, but the foundation, we support all of the programs and services of Williamson Medical Center and Bone and Joint Institute. And last year, whenever there was a critical need for PPE, those masks, the community came across in a big way and really supported the hospital. And the people, the employees inside the hospital really felt the love and the support from the community. And it was always great to see any type of delivery that we had because it was affirmation that they were doing the right thing and that they were taking care of the people in our community. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Go home and search the closet in the garage.
Everyone's got a pair somewhere. We know it.
Thank you. I'm thinking about canes. I know I have some canes and can do something with those for sure. Okay, we appreciate that. Now, who's ready for Thanksgiving? I'm not. Good for y'all, really good for y'all. So our friends from Renaissance Bank are here today, Diane LeBlanc, Tony Sharp, and Tina Anderson. But we have a little funny way to get you in preparation mode for the Thanksgiving holiday, and this is courtesy of Renaissance Bank.
It's dinner time again, and you have no idea what to make. None of the food in your pantry goes together. And all of those devices you ordered at 1 a.m. were supposed to make preparing a meal easier, not more difficult. Hi, I'm Ronnie Hayes, and I'm here to tell you dinner doesn't have to be complicated. Introducing the casserole dish. The only kitchen gadget that lets you combine all the ingredients you already have into one easy and delicious meal. No grocery trip required. Using our patented 3-step method, all you have to do is toss it, shove it, and scoop it. A perfect casserole every time. Toss in some chicken, cream of mushroom soup, and noodles, shove it in the oven for 30 minutes, and then scoop it onto your plate. A classic chicken casserole is a breeze. No recipe? No problem. Just toss in whatever you can find in your pantry, add some chicken, and look at that. You've got, another chicken casserole. Picky eaters in your family? Just toss all the foods they do like into the casserole dish, and presto! Chicken finger casserole. Doesn't that look incredible? And cleanup is easier than ever. Just let the dish soak in soapy water for as long as it takes to get the gunk off the sides, or until you remember that you left it in the sink a week ago and it started to grow stuff. The casserole dish features sleek design, thermoconductive technology created by NASA, and comes in clear, white, and 1970s floral nightmare. It doesn't come with a lid, but we know you've got cling wrap in your pantry. And the condensation that gets trapped under the wrap will be sure to keep your food nice and moist. The casserole dish makes enough food to feed a family of 12, or just you, for a whole week. We're not judging, and we've got a special offer. If you call right now, we'll throw in an extra casserole dish because we know you'll leave one at the potluck and you're never gonna get that back. And as a special deal, we'll throw in a week's supply of French fried onions. Don't wait, call now.
Renaissance Bank, the best bank in the South. Visit renaissancebank.com to learn more.
Yay!
Renaissance Bank, the best bank
I
in
don't
the
know how
South.
they got all my
Renaissancebank.com
recipes.
to
I
learn
don't
more.
know how they got those. I'm a little scared by that. So it is a busy time for Franklin tomorrow. We have today the Frank Talks, our monthly Frank Talks, always on the second Monday of the month. But next week on Tuesday, November 16th, we have our 15th annual Exemplary Community Volunteer Awards. And it's so rewarding to think that this is the 15th year of the volunteer awards and all the great acts of service done in our community that are being recognized through the programs like the Community Volunteer Awards. And we're going to use this morning to shine a little spotlight on those nominees. This is the first time their names have been announced. They know they've been nominated, and many of them are here. And so if you are here or representing one of the groups, please wave your hand. So in our Corporate Volunteerism Award, HCA was nominated by Saddle Up, Mars Pet Care by Williams County Animal Center, and Tractor Supply Company also by Saddle Up. In our Civic Group Award category, Derek Solomon and the Hard Bargain Association, P-Flag Franklin, Franklin Pride, the High Hope Supper Club, hi Brandy, and A Vintage Affair, and we've got Carrie Drury and Allie Noah here from A Vintage Affair. So congratulations to those groups. Volunteer Spirit, this is a big category. This is a big category. We give up to 3 awards in this category, and some great people here. Amy Alexander, representing Find Hope Franklin. Geralda Albra, representing Music City Pet Partners. Teresa Berry, Saddle Up. Bernice Carnett, Williams County Animal Center. Jennifer Hartzell Stockdale with 4-H STEM Project of Williamson County. Emily Jenkins, Williams County CASA. Brenda Arnold from Backlight Productions, Katrina Brown, Williams County Animal Center, Lee Barnes from Saddle Up, Brent Melker from Graceworks Ministries, Tommy Sanders representing the Community Housing Partnership of Williamson County, Mark and Connie Bond, and I know I saw Connie here this morning. Hey, Connie. for their work with One Gen Away. Jim Roberts, nominated for his work with City of Franklin's Historic Zoning Commission and other organizations. Patrick Shares, represented from the Downtown Franklin Rotary Cemetery Restoration Project. Dina Hu from the Charlie's Angels Saving Animals, and Wayne Howe representing Franktown Open Hearts. Great group, and if you're one of these people, wave your hand for us this morning. Thank you. In the Emerging Leader category, Allie Porter Noah for A Vintage Affair. There she is. Becca Levy from Freedom Reigns Ranch. Ashley Roberts from Youth Leadership Franklin, Laura Preckle from Murray and Williams County Animal Centers, and Maury Reisenberg, represented for A Vintage Affair and work with other nonprofits in our community. And then our Neighbor to Neighbor Award. I got to meet this gentleman this morning, Mike Simmons, Mustaches for Kids. He's got a great mask. It's the Tom Selleck mustache, y'all. I mean, it's really good. Mike Simmons, Mustaches for Kids. Kara Finger, My Bag, My Story. Miriam Farias for Path United, and Dr. Yog Nepal. And I know Dr. Nepal's here and Mike's here. Wave your hands for us. Yay. And then Youth Initiative Award, John Thomas Adama for Best Buddies, Chandler Bell for Threads of Care and Oasis Center and several other nonprofits, Renaz Jamal, also representing numerous agencies, and Sarah Lowe for Saddle Up. And I will say that Miriam Farias is an 8th grader. She's in the Neighbor and Neighbor category. She's an 8th grader at Poplar Grove Middle School and was nominated in the Youth Initiative category, but moved into the Neighbor to Neighbor Award for the type of volunteerism she's doing. And so we will have all these nominations on our website later today, first thing in the morning, where you can read and learn more about these people. Great event on November 16th at Rolling Hills Community Church. The program will start at 6 p.m. and Tom Lawrence, the great master of emceeing, will be my co-host next Tuesday. But we'll start at 5 o'clock with a social time to get to know each other and congratulate these people for being nominated. And there'll be great food from Catering and Events by Suzette, so you do not want to miss that. Let me assure you of that. And tickets are available on our website, and we would love to have you be present with us next Tuesday as we honor these volunteers. I want to say thank you to all the people who support us, and this award ceremony also includes an in memoriam section, which is also always very moving. When we started that a few years ago, there might be 20 to 25 people that we honored in our community. We completed our list on Friday and had to cut it from over 100 names this year. And so it's hard for me to talk about it. Tom knows it's hard for me to talk about this part of the program, but we have cut it, and we're looking for how we can make it still a special part of the program. We've had such significant loss in our community this year, as many communities have, but we really still want to honor the heart of the volunteer and the heart of our community, business and community leaders and officials who've passed away. So that will be part of the program on the 16th as well. Tom Lawrence, what are you saying? An hour 30, an hour 45 we'll be out there? 127. You heard it here, 127. So you heard it here. That's all I'm going to say. He's going to probably hold me to that. So, but we hope you'll join us next week. Those tickets are just $25. But I am so excited for our final City Hall on Wheels for 2021. And we've got Eric Stuckey with us, and then he has some special guests, and I know he sees there's some other elected officials in the audience that I'll let him recognize. But I'm going to turn it over to Eric Stuckey for our last City Hall on Wheels.
Thank
Give
you.
us a round of applause.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to kick it off with some project and activity updates, and I find project updates really get a crowd pumped up. In my experience, they just love them, and we'll do it sort of a quick hit as we go through those. We are going to meet our newly elected aldermen in a little bit after I go through this this quick update. And so we're excited to get to spend some time with them and get to know them as they take an important leadership role. We have some returning aldermen, ongoing aldermen. I know, and I'm struggling with the right term still, but Brandy Blanton and Ann Peterson are here. So thank you for your continued service to the community, and thank you for being so welcoming of our new folks too. All right, so let's jump in. Again, quick update. We're going to fly through this. First, activities. There's a lot going on. These are city-focused activities I just want to touch on. We've got 3 different runs, so if you want to get in shape before you chow down for the holidays, we got those there for you, whether it's Boots for Troops or, of course, the Turkey Trot, benefiting Graceworks. Yes, Valencia's in the house. And we've got the Jingle Bell Run on the same day as the Christmas Parade. So you got those, but most importantly this week, we'll step off on Thursday morning at 11 a.m., the Veterans Day Parade, one of my favorite events in our city. And so we did it last year a little different. Really proud that we did it. We did a reverse parade through Harlansdale, which was really great. But we're especially glad to have it back in its normal role going down Main Street in downtown Franklin. And so if you've never been to a Veterans Parade, that you should put that on your Franklin bucket list. It is just a cool experience. And the community really turns out for it. Of course, your Franklin Tomorrow Exemplary Community Service Awards. That's already been talked about. Our Christmas tree lighting is back and better than ever on December 3rd. So that'll start around 6 p.m. and we'll light the tree on that Friday evening. So that'll be a great time. And then the next day, that afternoon, the Kiwanis are back with their Christmas parade in full force as well. And then Dickens is the following weekend, the 11th and 12th. So those are lots of things to help you connect to the community and get rolling with these great activities. I'm going to touch on just a few groups of projects. These are high-profile projects for us. We approved a 10-year capital investment plan in 2019. We're going to reflect on about $9 million of projects that have already been completed. We got about just under 68 million that are under construction right now and driving towards completion. And then we got a couple other big projects that are going into their right-of-way acquisition phase, which is just around the corner here as we get rolling with those. So I'll walk through these real quick for you. These are our completed projects. We have updated and provided lighting at the Goose Creek interchange that was not there before. We did that in partnership with TDOT, so that's a great addition. This summer, we opened Fire Station 7, and that was a great partnership with Williamson County. We're co-locating the EMS units there, so there's an EMS wing, but also Williamson County provided that property to the city, the southern tip of the Ag Center property, so that we could build that fire station there. That's a great location for us. We also helped connect the Ag Center to sewer, so it was a good win-win for both of us. So that is up and operating and doing a great job serving the southeast part of Franklin. We resurfaced our eastern flank access road there, great road, great improvement there. Some stormwater improvements on a culvert replacement that we did, and then a Fifth Avenue parking lot that is now up and active because downtown's hopping again and we need parking anywhere we can find it. Big news. Mac Hatcher will open this year. Yes, the Northwest Extension. That's about a $46 million project. Per contract, it is to be completed by the end of November. And we learned just this last week that December 13th at 2 p.m. will be the official ribbon cutting. So we're not sure exactly the location. We'll let you know that. Franklin Road is well underway. That's about a $16 million project, and that is nearing completion by middle of next year. This is a unique project in that we provided a completion incentive to the contractor. So the board gave empowered staff, if they have it open and operating by a certain date from start, we can give them a bonus for completing it, but it is an all or nothing. It's got to be up and operating. There's no negotiating. It's like, is it operating by the date you said it was going to? And that's a significant thing because sometimes our projects fall deeper in the priority list for contractors because, you know, we operate in a government low bid environment, but we wanted to incentivize them, and we think we've really gotten their attention, and we look forward to that being done by around May of 2022. The McEwen interchange, not far from here, we added some capacity there so that the double turn lanes onto that interchange, and that's open now. We're just doing a little bit of cleanup to get that done. All right, so in the right-of-way stage, we've got McEwen Phase 4, which is right outside our door from the traffic circle at Cool Springs all the way to Wilson Pike. This is a $36 million project roughly, and is funded with right now about $22 million of federal money. We started at 10, we got it up to 22. Our staff is hopeful to get that up higher to about an 80% federal funding. So we keep working on that. And then you've got the Columbia Avenue widening and improvements there. We're moving into the right-of-way acquisition going into 2022 now. So that project will be moving forward. And that is a fully funded federal and state funded project. We're doing the project management as a city, but the state is doing the 20% match to a 80% federal funding there. One that isn't on here that is really important, Harlansdale, the pedestrian bridge that will connect to the pedestrian paths that go through the Chestnut Bend neighborhood and connect up to the Williamson County Rec Center in that area. That is we just got our environmental approval last week, and we hope to, within the next week, get them design documents to look at. We always play the game with TDOT where we keep hitting the ball back into their court. So while they were doing their environmental, we were working on design so we can turn it right back to them and keep pushing them to get that out. Once that bids, it'll take about a year to complete. So sometime in 2022, we expect to get that design clearance and go forward from there. This is our new city employee. He's really stepped up. The orange cone and orange barrel has become an official part of our city team, but it is important. It's how we're making progress. And so I just wanted to offer those quick updates for you. And our team continues to work diligently to provide infrastructure that supports quality of life. One I think I skipped was our Southeast Park. We've got infrastructure bridge going there that will help us get to that site, which will be a wonderful project, both an active park on the south end, including our first fully inclusive playground, LEG's Dream World, which will be awesome. And then the northern part is the Robinson Lake portion, which is more of a passive park. So think if we combined Pinkerton and Jim Warren in one park, that's what this will be in the southeast, in an area that is growing fast and needs those park services. So that bridge is under construction now, will be done by the middle of next year, and that'll help us move into actually building the park. All right, that completes my projects. We're going to bring up our new alderman, our newly elected alderman, who will take office officially tomorrow. And we're going to ask him some questions. This is a unique experience for me. I get to ask alderman questions as opposed to them asking me questions. So that's going to be fun for me. And let's welcome them. All right. How's it going? You guys have sat around and talked to crowds together before, I can tell. This one hopefully can be a little more relaxed. So let's just start off with you each giving us a quick kind of thumbnail biographical sketch of who you are and your background, and especially as it relates to Franklin. How long have you lived here? Where do you live? Just that piece. So we'll just go down the line, and then we'll have somebody new start each time. And I think that mic will work.
Is it hot? Is it on? Awesome. I'm Gabrielle Hansen, your new alderman at large. I filled Pearl Bransford's seat for the 2-year term. I moved to Franklin in June of 2012, live in West Haven, have a husband, Tom, and a daughter, Ashton, who's 17. She's a homeschooler, senior in high school. She'll be heading to Tampa to Bible school next year. She's going to need to pray a lot, I'm sure, for her mom. I also am the owner of Williamson Real Estate. I've been a realtor for almost 20 years, helped pass legislation for the real estate professionals in Tennessee this last year with Senator Jack Johnson so that they could be paid as an LLC and save federal tax money and then divert that money into our state and local governments.
Jason, take it.
Thank you very much. Howdy, everybody. Jason Potts. Very excited to be here with you this morning. Let's see. My wife, Amy, and I, we've lived here 16 of our 20 years of marriage. We actually live in Maplewood subdivision, and it's been great for us. We've got 3 kids. Q4 is amazing because we start off with my oldest son turned 19 in September. My daughter just turned 16 in October, and my son just turned 13 yesterday. So, Christmas is right around the corner. So we're really busy just celebrating them. But as I just shared with you, we've got one our oldest is at the Air Force Academy. He's a first year there. My daughter is a sophomore at Centennial, and my youngest is at Freedom Middle. Aside from that, I actually work with HCA. I help to lead 2 different departments there. And we focus on IT infrastructure within the organization, as well as quality assurance. And then I also have another team that focuses just on patient concerns. So all the great things when you need things fixed, typically it crosses our desks. So that's a little bit about me. Did that cover all of it?
That's awesome. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, Patrick, take it away.
Hey, I'm Patrick Baggett. My wife and I have lived here in Franklin for almost 12 years now. She grew up here. I'm originally from Decatur, Alabama, and we met down at school at Samford University in Birmingham. It's been a while now, but we have 3 daughters. We live across from Pinkerton Park area, right on 96. So I know the traffic concerns, and I see you're in the neighborhood as well. But anyway, I am an insurance broker, and we have our own independent agency here in Franklin. And my children attend Franklin Special School District, Franklin Elementary, and the little school at 4th Avenue, Church of Christ, where the little one goes. So, all right.
Good morning, everybody. Matt Brown. My wife, Julie, and I have been here about 4 years, although she'll tell you that we got here as quick as we could, and from her point of view, we've never been anywhere else. If you ask her where we're from, she'll tell you Tennessee. I mean, she just will. She loves it that much. We have 3 kids. We've got a daughter at Trevecca, first year at Trevecca, and 2 boys at Franklin High School. I've got a company on Main Street in downtown Franklin. It's a branding and marketing company, and the other half of the company is an incubator, so we help launch startups here in Franklin. We've got about 7 companies in there, some healthcare, some technology, a whiskey company, and a coffee company, because if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right. So we start and end our days with our startups, which is good. And I guess that's good.
That's great. Thank you so much. All right, so you all have just been through a pretty unique experience. Standing for elective office is a challenging job. It's a hard job. It is invigorating at times, but draining at others. And we're so thankful that you all ran, and we had 13 active candidates in this campaign for the 5 seats. And we're grateful for all the folks who offered themselves and really participated. And I was just so impressed with what everyone brought to the table. So reflect on your experience. You've just been through this. What did you learn? What surprised you? What do you carry forward with you from going through that unique experience? And Matt, we'll let you start off since you got the mic.
Sure. Well, the very first thing for sure for me was, and it was actually, I really appreciated that Brandy made the comment to us when we first started our runs to say, really take the time and be blessed by meeting people. And I know it can sound sort of trite or whatever, but it really did happen that way. I tracked and knocked on over 1,600 doors myself. And I'm not saying everybody answered, but I would say a good share of them did. And I never had a bad experience at all. Every person I met was friendly, welcoming, thankful, grateful, had great questions. I think even people who maybe aren't normally interested were still interested, and I really appreciated that. I had said to that I fell in love with Franklin a second time running for alderman, because you meet all these great people, and it really sort of in those final days when it's just exhausting. That last week was rough. I lost my voice for 2 days on Thursday and Friday after. I couldn't even be at the policy talks. I was just completely wiped out. And my body just said, that's enough, we're done, you're shut down for a while. But even through that last push, I just kept reflecting on the great people that I met. And to be honest, even if I hadn't been successful, 500 new friends in my community was a pretty cool thing, so.
I would echo that. I think that you know, when you see others running for office and you think, oh, that's, you know, I would never do that, and then you decide to do it, and then you're blown away really by the people that you meet, and not just the people that agree with you, but in Franklin, or my experience was the people that disagreed with me. I mean, they were very, but they love this community, right? They love it, and they love it for their own reasons, and we actually have a lot of common ground. And I think for me, it was a really good experience to. You know, good preparation. And I think we've got this really unique experience with the four of us who have just spent a whole lot of time talking with people. So I feel like we have a really good pulse on what the community is after and what the community is looking for. And so I think that was you know, I think just meeting and being able to agreeing to disagree with other people that love Franklin, that was really, really a great experience for me. I don't know, I hope it was for them too, but I think it was, and I think that was the spirit of the campaign. And Eric, you mentioned it. I think this was a great campaign where I think people really were passionate and about their love for Franklin and their willingness to serve and wanting to serve. So I think that's probably the most surprising thing, was just really when you do decide to run, just the relationships and the people that support you that you didn't get to meet, and it's just humbling, really, that there are people out there that bought into your message.
I think the thing that I have the privilege of taking away is this was the best excuse to get out to Franklin and knock on strangers' doors and find the heartbeat of Franklin. I mean, it was amazing. So many people, as you're sharing, that whether agreed or disagreed, it gave me the excuse of going across town to an area maybe I wouldn't normally have gone to, only because I'm in the car, I'm driving to work, I'm taking care of things, and suddenly you're standing there knocking on somebody's door that's, yes, you have them on your list, and you know they're a registered voter, or maybe they're not a registered voter, but you're meeting them for the first time, and you find out, and this is what I really take from this, is when we look at this national scale and we talk about the divisiveness between the separation of parties and all these different political views and everything, I found that we had more in common if we would just talk about things. And so when I say sat down, when I stood there with people, it turned in, you try to do a very short conversation at somebody's door, and then before you know it, you're standing there and it's 20, 25 minutes later, and sometimes even longer than that, but at the end of it, there was this level of respect for this person that I had never engaged with before. And it really just helped me to re-energize my faith in our community. And I always believed in Franklin, but I just mean in the bigger picture. I really, truly believe at the heart of all of this, when you can get somebody just to talk and remove emotion from it and just learn more about them and them about you, it's a great experience. So that's really what I took from it.
Well, I encourage everybody in this room to run for something someday other than your life, because it is a real eye-opener. I have run national campaigns. I've run a major city campaign before, and I've got to tell you, this was 10 times harder. And Matt and I talked about it this morning, because it was so much more labor intensive. It's so much more one-on-one. It's knocking on those doors, getting to know people, giving of your heart, of yourself, and really being completely open, because they're going to find out sooner or later if you're not being honest. So it was much harder than I ever guessed it would be. It was a whole lot more expensive than I thought it would be, but it was all worth it. And the one thing I know that all of us sit and think all the time, it's like, oh, these people are coming in here. No, 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 because we're so afraid they're bringing their baggage with them and they haven't learned their lesson from where they're leaving. But what I discovered is they are more rabidly patriotic and intense about Tennessee than even we are. So I even question, I'm like, do I love this place enough? Because these people are like insane about Franklin and about Tennessee. So just rest assured that these people love this place maybe even more than we do. So be glad that they're coming, because they're going to sustain what we have and even bring it to a better level.
So I'll tell you, I've been in public service for 28 years. In 3 communities before I came to Franklin, I've been in Franklin almost 13 years. And man, people love Franklin. I mean, it's like they're proud to live here, and that doesn't mean they aren't critical of it and they want it to be better, because you want something you love to be as good as it can be, right? And so that's the way I always take it when I hear the critiques we get and the ideas and improvements, that people are nurturing something they love, and that is pretty special. And it's not that way everywhere. I've been other places where there's sort of an inferiority complex. That's not our problem. But it's a great, great place, and I'm glad you all shared those experiences. All right, so you're about to go on this journey of being an elected official here in the city of Franklin. What are you looking forward to most in serving the community? Talk a little bit about what your why is, your motivation, your reason for doing this. And as you get ready to get started tomorrow night on this journey, what's your best guess of what you see ahead? What are your hopes for what you see ahead?
Helping to be a decision maker in those lasting legacy milestones for this community that have left impressions in the past that will be sustained for future generations, and also making those wise, prudent decisions for those generations going forward. It's a big handful for us to deal with, and some of these decisions, they can't ever be reversed. So to know that you're part of that process is wonderful, and it also makes you take a step back and apply your wisdom and think carefully and weigh every option and listen to everybody's opinion, because these have all lasting repercussions for our community. And I'm really excited to be a part of that process. I'm really excited about a new city hall that we have coming that we've probably needed for a long time. No more leaking roofs and no more dysfunction in that building. So I'm excited to see what Franklin has in store for the next 2 years while I'm your alderman at large.
Yeah, I'll start with the why portion of that. The why for me is I'm trying to show my kids and those individuals in my sphere of influence that they can find time in their day to give back to our community. They may already be doing that, and they can encourage other people to get out there and do that. The why for me is I look at my kids and I want them to see that, Dad's a servant leader. He really puts his actions into place where he's speaking about and, where his words are. And so I want our kids to see Franklin for all the great things that it is, and so that it can continue to improve. But honestly and selfishly, I want my kids to move back here to Franklin. I want them to get married, move back here, raise our grandkids here. That's the future that I'm looking at, is those, not just this chapter that we're moving into, but those, 6 to 10 to 12 chapters later, all the great things that we're going to have the opportunity to be involved with, and they're going to have the opportunity to enjoy. So those are the big things that I'm looking at right now, and there will be some challenges down the road, and the opportunity really is, and I talked about it throughout the campaign, is to listen and we've talked about this, we're drinking from a fire hose right now. We've got, roughly 1,400 pages to have read and reviewed between Thursday and tomorrow night. So there's a lot that's taking place, but it's a challenge that I willingly accept and look forward to really taking action on. So those are a couple of things I'm looking at.
So just thinking about there's the what we all want to do, but again, the why. And I think we think about it's public service. And so, and in the same vein as Jason's answer, the way our family, my family, and our family now has always operated is that, mom and dad serve in the community. We're going to find ways to use the gifts that we believe God's given us to give back to the community. And when you have those gifts, and this is what I believe, when you have those gifts or give those gifts, then really you ought to use them, and you ought to use them for to further the community you're in, whether that your church or your whatever organization, nonprofit you're with. And so really that's the why for me is yes, I want to see my kids grow up in a wonderful, fantastic place that makes all the top 10 lists or what. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. Here's that some people don't want us on those lists anymore. But the real reason is yeah. I mean, I want them to see that their family, is giving back, and that is a core value of living life. And that's what for me, it's through all the things that I've done in Franklin Tomorrow and other things. That's really why why I serve is because the best thing in life would be for my children or other people in the community to say, hey, you know what? He serves, he's giving back. It's clearly taken away time from work and family, but there must be something rewarding that he's getting, and that is the service and making sure that, yes, we are a community that we're proud of, and yes, our families and our schools and our the various things are places we're proud of. And the only way to get that is if people step up and do it. So challenge issued to.
Franklin is, it's our wonderful life. My wife reminds me that all the time. In fact, a true story, there was a Christmas night, a night before Christmas, we were headed down to the Franklin Theater to watch It's a Wonderful Life. It was the night that Donna Reed's daughter was there, and there was a little flurry in the air, and my wife, I kid you not, broke into George Bailey, running down the street saying, I love you, Tin Cottage, I love you, Franklin Theater. I can't make it up, she really did. And she reminds me on a regular basis that this is her wonderful life. And so when you love something, you protect it. And so for me, this is sort of twofold. One is I really want to protect what we've got in Franklin. And by that, I just mean our tourism is so important. Our quality of life for our current residents, people who have chose here, we all want to enjoy this great place. And I just want to make sure that as we grow, and we're going to grow, that we don't lose our tourism, we don't lose our quality of life as residents, that we really do preserve and protect what makes this place great. I will say one of the most upsetting things that I would hear from people as I would walk through is people saying, I'm out of here, you know, I'm moving any day now. And I will tell you, I heard that quite a bit, and it was hard for me to hear because I know that behind them was probably a wonderful life too at some point. And so I really want to be a part of trying to keep people here, all people here, and that's really important to me. The second thing, though, is I don't want to just be about monitoring and weighing in and voting on things that are coming through to us. I really hope, as a brand strategist, as a visionary, as somebody who helps launch companies that keeps brands at the top, I hope we can actually get a chance to espouse some vision and do some great things. Dana said it in one of the last meetings, and I loved it. He said, you know, one of the things he always committed to in his 24 years of service was he never wanted to drive by a place and have his son say, why'd you let that happen? I think that's the first part of it. I think the second thing for me is I want to be able to drive by a place and point it out to my kids and say, I helped bring that to Franklin. I helped do that in Franklin. I really hope for that. I love this place too much to not keep making it better.
So when you register, if you RSVP in advance for Frank Talks, which we appreciate you doing that, you are given an option to ask a question, and the response this time was, do you have a question for Eric Stuckey? And one of the questions submitted I think is really relevant, and I think the alderman can answer this as well, but how are you, Eric, preparing to work with so many newly elected first-time aldermen on the Board of Mayor and Aldermen? And guys, has it given you enough homework?
Well, I'll start and let you all fill in, I guess, if anything else you want to say. We've tried to be really intentional about it, and we started right after folks filed their petitions to run as candidates. And so we wanted to connect them to what we do as a city team. And I will tell you, all the candidates took that very seriously. We hold a really awkward meeting where they all meet together and we give them information together, but it's great. And folks really followed up on that and asked good questions and wanted to make sure they were informed, because our attitude is informed candidates and an informed public serve us all well in the process. So we tried to be very intentional from that point forward. And then since this group was elected a week and a half ago, something like that, 2 weeks ago, we've talked about how we get them up to speed. We've done some individual briefings. We've gotten them information. We did have a little dry run of a meeting last Tuesday. They did not approve the annexation of Kentucky. as part of that process. But we did that so that they could have experience making motions and interacting with each other and having the mayor sort of chair that and move that along. But we also got a chance for them to connect with their new colleagues, the aldermen that'll be ongoing, and they couldn't have been more welcoming. And I walked out of that meeting just smiling ear to ear because it just felt good about the vibe between the new and the old and that are coming together here, and that's going to make us even stronger down the line. So, but there's lots of work to do. We're briefing them on all these different operational components, and we're going to wear them out, I think, but there's so much to learn, and they're great students. So I don't know if you all want to reflect on what's coming your way.
First of all, the amount of respect and actual friendship that was built through this whole entire process was pretty incredible. And actually, one of the most depressing things about winning is that because of sunshine laws, you don't even get to be as much of friends as you want to be. We all know Brandy's heart. Ann doesn't know this yet, but we're very kindred spirits on a lot of things, and she's going to find that out. I'd love to see Franklin through Clyde's eyes over all the years. These folks up here, just so much respect and so much enjoyment for them. Like, I can't imagine not having a ball and not really doing well with this board. I think we're going to do awesome. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we're going to really enjoy each other. I think we're going to wish we could enjoy each other even more so beyond that. I will say, receiving that first download for the first meeting was pretty significant. And I told my wife, she said, what's the one thing you're most worried about? And I said, my calendar. I am deathly afraid that my calendar is just going to run away. And so literally Amazon for $8, I even grabbed a pocket one in addition to my phone. Like, I am doubling down on this. But you want another funny story? This morning I had an 8:30 breakfast and I totally missed it. So, there you go. It was okay. It was okay. It's all good. I'm going to meet him at 10:30. But anyway, we're not even sworn in yet, and I've already screwed up the calendar. So there you go.
I think, I think that you're right. I think there's a chemistry, and you're right. We spent a lot of time, all the candidates, not just the ones that will run. There's lots of candidates that we spent a lot of time with, and we were at all the road shows, and you get to know each other, and you build a rapport. And I think the rapport is good on this board with the existing and the new ones, and that matters a lot. Respect is there. There's a respect factor, I think, that will be shown and proven out on the board. Also, but in preparation, I think, because the question was how we're going to prepare, I have to tip my hat considerably to the city staff, because on this packet, there are we have votes the first night, and multiple public meetings where there may or may not be shirts and pickets and all the things, right? So baptism by fire, but the fact is, I'm in the customer service business, and when I've asked questions, I've gotten responses in hours, and that is just from city staff, and not just from one, from multiple. They are so attentive, and they have taken it, and I think in large part because of Eric's leadership, made it their mission to make sure that we who are new are educated and have all of our questions answered, which that right there has been, and I think will continue to be, a differentiator for me, for sure.
Yeah, I think the first thing that I'd like to share is just a tip of the hat to Eric and his leadership. We live in a great city, and the previous leadership that's been here has done a great job, but Eric, it's just hats off, standing O. Every time we turn for a question, every time we turn to need to know something, they're actually ahead of the game. They've already thought, okay, we've met on this. Here, oh, you've got a question about this. Here's a binder. Here's another binder. Oh, wait, here's another binder. But they're right there on it, and they're giving us the resources online. They're making sure that we are connected to where we need to be, because it is going to be challenging, and I embrace the opportunity. I know that we've got Ann and Brandy that are here, and with the others that aren't here, but even with this table right here, you know right out of the gate when you click with somebody. And all of a sudden, I remember when we crossed paths in the office one day, you're like, Jason, how's it going? I'm like, oh, it's going good. How about you? You know, and we just made the connection, and we're able to communicate. And there will be times where we will disagree with each other. But the thing that I think that we have is that level of professionalism and the ability to agree to disagree without stopping. You know, we can continue moving forward and continue to make those big decisions, because this is going to be a visionary board. There's a big decisions are on the horizon for Franklin's future right now, and they are not going to be easy. But I'm excited to be able to be part of that with these 4 individuals and our 4 existing aldermen as well.
And they weren't kidding about the 1,400 pages. It's like for real. Like, and what we didn't get in a packet, we got on email. And you realize, like, you're on Tuesday. This is make or break, and this is somebody else's future. And then you don't want to bug Eric, because we know that there's 4 other people, and we know they're already overwhelmed and edgy anyway, because there are 4 new people, and they're like, oh, I hope they figure this out quick. And they have been wonderful setting us up with department heads and giving us the 101 and answering those questions. Then there's Robert's Rules. Oh my goodness. And guys, just watch, and we'll do our best, but we're going to be looking at each other going, is it our turn? Do we talk? Do we not talk? What do we want? Do we number 2? Do we motion? I mean, because you're on, and the cameras are on, and it's real, and it's not just pretend like last week, which was a great, great experience. But it is serious, and we do have to get up to speed quickly. And I know the city staff has bent over backwards, and they have provided it to us. And there have been tons of questions, and I'm sure we're hesitant to bug them because we think they're stupid questions, but they're not stupid, because we really don't know those answers, and we do want to know those answers to be the best possible representatives of our constituents. So we really appreciate everything you've done, and know you've earned a big vacation.
Well, thank you. And this is my favorite question, actually. Thank you, Mindy, for this question. Yeah. Well, it's a great team effort, for sure. All right. I've always wanted to do the Tom Lawrence curveball. It won't be bad. So tell us what you do when you're not doing this. What fulfills you? What makes you happy? What's your, just on the personal side, what is something that just brings you joy, makes you feel just great, and outside of work and other stuff?
My life kind of revolves around work. But in the meantime, I do love to travel. I rack up about 70,000 miles a year in my car, so I'm like a road tripper, and I love to discover all these little independently owned boutiques all across the United States and shop local in every little community I can go to. But on the other hand, I really love my job as a realtor, because so many times it's been no, no, no for people, and you can finally get to that yes. You can make that lasting change. That impossible that was there became possible, and you see not only their life change, but maybe an entire family. Maybe they're the first time they've ever owned a home of anybody in their family. That, to me, is the most fulfilling thing, is to get somebody who's been told no in life to get them a yes for the first time, and that's really what makes me happiest.
I think the thing that makes me happiest is actually being with my family. And every Friday night's family movie night at the Potts House. If you want to be extended family, you can come. But we do. We sit down. We get indirect plug for Papa John's. It's right there by our house. So we get 3 pizzas every Friday night, and we sit down. And I will miss in years to come the disagreements on what movies we watch. But I love hearing my kids and me and my wife all being part of that, and that's when I escape. It's those moments in life when I'm seeing all of us be together. So that's where I get the most joy with my family. And then beyond that is, I talked about sphere of influence earlier. I get great joy when somebody comes to me a month, a year, or even I've had this happen a couple of years later, where somebody's come up and they said, hey, do you remember this conversation that we've had? And I'm like, oh, I think I do remember that conversation. And I said, that was monumental for me. That helped to redirect what I was doing at the time. And so I just trying to be a positive influence. And so that it brings me joy if I can do that. I'm going to make mistakes, but I try to always learn from those mistakes. So that's where I get joy.
This is going to be a really transparent answer, but I really enjoy breakfast, and I get a lot of joy out of it, and especially on Saturday morning specific. There's more to it. It's not just that. It's meant to shock you. But I take my daughters every Saturday to breakfast on top of the food. I enjoy spending time with them. And we have our family breakfast on Saturdays, which we have not been able to do for the last few months because I was out campaigning. And so the last 2 weekends we've had those. It's just been such a joy and fun to be able to spend that time with them, and any time spent with them and doing their activities and ferrying them around to gymnastics and that kind of thing. That's really where I have a lot of fun. Also enjoy playing golf, but I don't get to play golf as much anymore as I did. But yeah, spending time with family, my wife and my daughters for sure, and friends. Friends through Rotary and through our church. Just anytime we can get a chance to build a fire in the backyard or go over to someone's house in another neighborhood, and this is the perfect season for it. But that's really where the joy comes from for me.
Breakfast. Sounds great.
Making me hungry.
We got 24 hours to hang out together still, so eggs and bacon, I'm in.
Breakfast.
All right. For me, it's funny, every phase of life with my kids I thought was my favorite. I love the little baby stage and then that little 5-6-year-old phase. But I got to tell you, right now, I am having so much fun watching my kids come into their own, accomplish things, do amazing things that clearly did not come from me at all, whether it's athletics or academics, and I'm just really enjoying it. But I'm also really enjoying watching them make life decisions and see where life is taking them and how they're navigating it. And there's moments where it breaks your heart. And then there's moments where it just makes you so proud as a parent, and I know many of you have been through it. But just watching my kids navigate that, and not even just my kids, but watching our friends' kids navigate that, and seeing where people are going to end up, and I think it's just a really cool phase of life. I will say for me personally, when I just need to be away. In fact, I left the morning after the election and went out to Norris Lake above Knoxville. That is my retreat space. It's where I go to rejuvenate and refresh, and I go out there to work sometimes, and it is my happy place for sure. So,
awesome. Okay, we're gonna have a rapid fire final question. I like top 3 things, right? That's part of my brand. 3 things. Give me 3 adjectives that describe you.
Well, definitely tenacious. I do not like to lose. Intentional, incredibly intentional. I work on a lot of different things, and I'm very careful to make sure that at least when I'm in the moment, I really need to be in the moment. That's something my wife has spent 20 years teaching me, to be very intentional about the moments that we're in, and taking on something new. I remind myself every morning when I wake up to continue to be very intentional in the roles that I'm in. And the final thing is, I guess I'll just say heart. I cry at movies. I cry when my kids accomplish things. I just really love, I love people, and I love the city, and I really love that I get to go do this job. And so thank you for that opportunity.
I think the first thing, and it's, you strive to be these adjectives a lot of time, but authentic is one that I really strive to be. I'm a hard worker. I'm just I don't know how else to describe that, but I just work. And then, I think I'm engaging. I think just love engaging with people, love engaging with projects, love tackling things, and I think just, if I'm not engaging, I'm not interested. If I'm interested in something, I'm diving in, engaging in that.
And Matt, just so you don't feel left out, I'll cry at Hallmark movies too, if that's what you need. Yeah. Let's see.
Christmas movies have started already.
Yeah. Oh, they have. All right. I haven't seen those.
Yeah, I think for me, family-oriented is right out of the gate. That's where my biggest heart is right there in my faith. Aside from that, I think passion for a community, always trying to grow that, and then long-term influencer. I'm not playing the short game. I'm looking to have the impact on people for many, many years to come.
Steadfast, never wavering, for sure. Relentless and charismatic.
Oh, those are good. All right, those are the questions I had prepared. Mindy, do you have some other things you want to jump in on?
Well, Eric, give us the schedule for their actually taking office tomorrow and what happens with that, 74-item agenda you have tomorrow night at 7 o'clock?
Yeah, that's helpful. So we'll have our normal work session at 5 o'clock. They won't be officially sworn in, but we'll have them sit at the table, and we will be at the table on Tuesday. We're not going to be up on the dais. We're going to be down on the table, around the table together, because these are all items they'll eventually have to vote on. Our work session is a non-voting work time together, and so this new group will be constituted as the board, even though they haven't officially been sworn in. Then at 7 o'clock, we will thank our 4 aldermen that are leaving us and recognize them. Then we will swear in 5 aldermen. Beverly Berger's returning for another term, so we'll have her sworn in, and then the 4 folks here will get sworn in. Then we will elect a vice mayor, which we do every November, which is always kind of an adventure. It's the item the mayor has voted on the most, because he only votes when there's a tie. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. This is when we know there's not a lot of backroom deals, because there's like names and talking. So it's very authentic of them figuring out who they want to have in that role. And then the mayor will go through and recommend some various committee appointments and commission appointments for the aldermen, and updating who's assigned to what, because there's lots of different things, not just the meetings you see. There's all these other commissions that they plug into to help represent the city. And then we'll go on with the rest of our items. We have several public hearings. We have, they are literally hitting the ground running. There's nothing we can do about it. It's just the nature of the beast. But they've taken it very seriously and jumped in on that. And we've got several public hearings and I think a couple pretty interesting development projects to discuss, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, so, and the good news is you can watch it from home, okay? You don't have to go to the boardroom, but you can be there to witness it if you choose to. Either of those meetings are available on through the city's YouTube channel and on their Franklin TV, which you can find on any provider of television services here, because we would encourage you to stay engaged. You came today, and we really appreciate that you are here today, but we would encourage you to stay engaged by watching these programs where they are making decisions. Many of not just the board, mayor, and alderman, but the committee meetings are also televised or available through social media. But you can stay engaged and watch these programs, and we would encourage you to do that. And today we want to say thank you to these people for running for this office and for being able to serve over the next few years. So thank you so much. So that's going to bring our program to an end, and we are so excited to have you here. We hope to see you next week at the Volunteer Awards, and if you have any questions, come see me. But as mentioned, there are several nominees here in the audience, so congratulate them. And thank you, Jason Golden, for being here. We appreciate you being here today. And thanks so much. Go out and make it a great day and do something good in our community today.